You ever stop and think about what's really going on inside you right this second? I'm not talking about your thoughts, but way, way deeper, on a microscopic level. I mean, you're made of trillions, literally trillions of tiny little living things called cells. And each one, it's like its own bustling, complex world. So yeah, let's dive into this incredible hidden universe together.
Okay, to really get this, let's think about your body not as one single thing, but as a giant nation made up of about 30 trillion individual citizens. And every single citizen is a cell. Now, just like any country, each of these little cell cities needs a secure border, right? Something to control what comes in and what goes out. And that's exactly where our story starts.
So every single one of these cell cities is wrapped in a border, and we call it the cell membrane. But this is not just some passive wall. Oh no, it's a super smart, super active border control system, and it is absolutely crucial for the cell's survival.
The number one rule for this border is a concept called selectively permeable. It's the official rule book. Think of it like the bouncer at the world's most exclusive club. It knows exactly who's on the list. Vital nutrients get the VIP treatment, waved right through. But for unwanted visitors, the rope goes up, hard stop. This selectivity is everything. It keeps the good stuff in and the bad stuff out.
So that begs the question, right? If the border is so picky, how does anything actually get across? How do you get supplies delivered and, take out the trash? Well, as you might have guessed, the cell has some pretty clever tricks up its sleeve.
Turns out, it all pretty much boils down to three main ways of crossing that border. You've got diffusion, you've got active transport, and then there's a special case for water called osmosis. Let's tackle the two big ones first.
All right, on one side, we've got diffusion. This is the easy way in, the public entrance. Just imagine a massive crowd leaving a stadium. They just naturally spread out into the less crowded space outside. It's passive, no energy needed. But then you've got active transport. This is the exclusive VIP entrance. It's like a bouncer who has a specific name on the list and has to use energy to physically pull that person into the already packed club. It's deliberate, and it costs energy every single time.
And that third method, osmosis, well, that's just a fancy name for the diffusion of water. See, water is so unbelievably important that its movement gets its very own category. It's all about making sure the cell's internal environment stays perfectly balanced.
Okay, so we've got a handle on how physical stuff gets in and out. But what about information? How does a cell city get its orders from, say, the main government, your brain, your hormones, to actually do its job? Well, it has this incredibly sophisticated mail system.
The message itself is a tiny molecule called a ligand. Now, you can think of a ligand like a letter with a very specific construction written on it. Or even better, think of it as a key, a very unique key that's been cut to open only one specific lock. And that lock? That's what we call a cellular receptor. It's a protein, a tiny machine that's just sitting there, waiting for its one and only key, the ligand. When the right ligand comes along, it fits into that receptor perfectly. And that right there perfectly sums up the whole idea. When that ligand binds to the receptor, it truly acts like a key unlocking a door. And that one simple action sets off this whole chain reaction inside the cell, delivering the message and telling the cell exactly what it needs to do next. And this is a huge deal, by the way. So many of our modern medicines are designed to either copy or block these very keys to control what our cells do. Now, these mailboxes, these receptors, they can be in a couple of different places. Some of them are right on the border wall on the cell's surface, ready to catch messages as they float by in the bloodstream. But others are found deep inside the city, waiting for special messages that have already cleared security at the border. So, the message is delivered. The key is in the lock, the door's been opened. But who actually carries out the orders? I mean, who's doing the construction, the manufacturing, the cleanup? It's time to meet the city's workforce. The real workhorses, the unsung heroes inside every cell, are proteins called enzymes. These guys are the catalysts for pretty much every single process that keeps you alive. They build things up, they break things down, they make things happen. Without enzymes, the reactions needed for life would happen so slowly, they might as well not happen at all. So here's the magic of an enzyme. It basically just makes hard jobs easy. It dramatically lowers something called the activation energy, which is just the effort, the oomph, needed to get a chemical reaction started. They make things happen way more efficiently, so the cell can run its entire metabolism without burning a ton of unnecessary energy. It's this incredible efficiency that is the heart of what we call metabolism.
Of course, you can't just have a workforce running around doing whatever it wants. So just as important as what enzymes do is how they're controlled. The cell has to be super strict about regulating them to make sure it only produces what it needs exactly when it needs it. It is all about maintaining a perfect, delicate balance.
Okay, let's zoom back out. We've looked at the border, the communication network, and the internal workforce. And when you start to put all these pieces together, you see it, don't you? You see how each individual cell is this beautiful, self-sufficient, and highly organized metropolis.
When you boil it all down, everything we've talked about really comes back to these three core operations. You've got transport, that's managing the border. You've got signaling, that's communicating the instructions. And you have catalysis, the enzyme workforce that actually gets the job done. This right here is the fundamental operating system for all of life.
And that leaves us with one last big thought. These rules we've talked about, transport, signaling, catalysis, they are remarkably simple. They're elegant. They're the foundation of a healthy body. Which really makes you wonder, right? If the basic blueprint is so well designed, where do things go wrong? Understanding this foundation, well, that's the very first step to understanding the incredible complexity of both health and disease.